In the heart of the ancient world, where the Tiber River winds through fertile plains, a civilization was born that would reshape humanity's destiny: Rome. From a cluster of humble villages on 7 hills in the 8th century BC, it grew into an empire spanning 3 continents, encompassing over 70 million souls at its zenith under Emperor Trajan in the 2nd century AD. This was a realm of unparalleled ambition, roads that connected distant frontiers, aqueducts that quenched the thirst of millions, laws that governed with iron precision, and armies that conquered the known world. Yet, like all great powers, Rome's story is one of triumphant ascent, glittering apex, and tragic descent, a cautionary epic of hubris, innovation, and inevitable decay. Our tale begins not with emperors or battles, but with myth and mud huts. According to Roman legend, immortalized by poets like Virgil in the Aeneid, Rome was founded in 753 BC by twin brothers Romulus and Remus. Sons of the war god Mars and the Vestal virgin Rhea Silvia, they were abandoned as infants by a jealous king of Alba Longa, who feared a prophecy of their rise. Cast into the Tiber in a basket, they washed ashore and were nursed by a she-wolf in a cave on the Palatine Hill. Raised by shepherds, the brothers grew into fierce warriors. They overthrew the king, but sibling rivalry turned deadly. During a quarrel over the city's walls, Romulus slew Remus and became Rome's first king. He marked the city's boundaries with a plow, declaring it sacred. Archaeology supports elements of this myth. Evidence of Iron Age settlements on the Palatine and Capitoline Hills dates to around 1000 to 800 BC, with villages merging into a unified community by the 8th century BC. Rome's strategic location, hills for defense, the river for trade and water, fostered growth amid Etruscan, Sabine, and Latin neighbors. For over 2 centuries, Rome was a kingdom ruled by 7 legendary kings, blending myth and history. Romulus organized the city into tribes and established the Senate, a council of 100 elders from leading families. Numa Pompilius, his successor, focused on peace and religion, founding temples and priesthoods that would endure for centuries. Tullus Hostilius embodied war, conquering Alba Longa and integrating its people. Ancus Marcius expanded Rome's territory and built the first bridge over the Tiber, the Pons Sublicius. The later kings, Lucius Tarquinius Priscus, Servius Tullius, and Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, were Etruscan-influenced, bringing advanced engineering like the Cloaca Maxima, Rome's great sewer system, which drained marshes and enabled urban expansion. Servius Tullius reformed society with a census, dividing citizens into classes based on wealth for military service, laying the groundwork for the republic's structure. But monarchy bred tyranny. Tarquinius Superbus, known as Tarquin the Proud, ruled with cruelty, seizing power unlawfully and oppressing the people. The spark for revolution came in 509 BC, when his son Sextus raped Lucretia, a noblewoman who then took her own life. Her husband, Lucius Junius Brutus, rallied the people, overthrowing the king and establishing the Roman Republic. Brutus and Lucius Tarquinius Collatinus became the first consuls, vowing eternal hatred for kings. The Republic's motto, SPQR, Senatus Populusque Romanus, the Senate and people of Rome, symbolized shared power. Government featured 2 annually elected consuls with veto power, a senate of patricians advising on policy, and assemblies where citizens voted on laws and magistrates. This system, designed to prevent any one man's dominance, fostered checks and balances that influenced modern democracies. The early republic was a forge of resilience. Surrounded by foes, Etruscans to the north, Samnites in the south, Gauls from beyond the Alps, Rome fought for survival. In 390 BC, Brennus's Gauls sacked the city, burning it nearly to ashes, but the Romans rebuilt with massive Servian walls, 11 kilometers long and 10 meters high, incorporating volcanic tufa for strength. Military innovation shone. The legion, a flexible force of 4,000 to 6,000 men divided into maniples, allowed adaptability in battle. Armed with pilum javelins, gladius swords, and scutum shields, Roman soldiers were citizen militia, serving seasonally before returning to farms. By 264 BC, Rome controlled the Italian peninsula, granting citizenship or alliances to conquered peoples, binding them through shared rights and roads like the Via Appia, 312 BC, the Queen of Roads, stretching 540 kilometers south. Rome's gaze turned seaward, clashing with Carthage, the Phoenician powerhouse in North Africa. The Punic Wars, 3 epic struggles, defined Rome's imperial destiny. The first, 264 to 241 BC, erupted over Sicily. Rome, a land power, innovated by building a navy of 100 quinqueremes, copying a Carthaginian wreck and adding corvus boarding ramps to turn sea fights into infantry battles. After 23 years of grueling naval warfare, Rome triumphed at the Agates Islands, annexing Sicily as its first province and imposing heavy indemnities on Carthage. The Second Punic War, 218 to 201 BC, was Rome's darkest hour, pitting it against Hannibal Barca, Carthage's brilliant general. Swearing eternal enmity to Rome as a boy, Hannibal crossed the Alps with 50,000 men and 37 elephants, defying avalanches and tribes. He crushed Romans at Trebia, 218 BC, Trasimene, 217 BC, an ambush killing 15,000, and Cannae, 216 BC, where his double envelopment slaughtered 50,000, the bloodiest day in Roman history. Hannibal roamed Italy for 15 years, but Rome endured, adopting Fabian tactics of delay. Scipio Africanus invaded Africa, forcing Hannibal's recall. At Zama, 202 BC, Scipio's cavalry routed Hannibal's elephants, ending the war. Carthage ceded Spain and its fleet, reduced to a vassal. The Third Punic War, 149 to 146 BC, was Rome's vindictive finale. Cato the Elder demanded Carthage's destruction, chanting Carthago delenda est. Rome besieged the city for 3 years. Scipio Aemilianus breached the walls, fighting house to house. Carthage burned for 17 days. Survivors were enslaved, the site salted. Rome annexed North Africa, unchallenged in the Mediterranean. Mare Nostrum. Eastern conquests followed. Macedonia fell in 168 BC at Pydna. Greece in 146 BC after Corinth's sack. Pergamon's bequest in 133 BC added Asia Minor. Wealth poured in, but inequality festered. Small farmers, displaced by wars and latifundia estates, swelled Rome's urban poor. The Gracchi brothers, Tiberius 133 BC and Gaius 123 BC, pushed land reforms, redistributing public land, ager publicus. Both were murdered by senatorial mobs, igniting class warfare. Generals became kingmakers. Marius, 107 BC, professionalized the army, recruiting landless men loyal to commanders, not the state. Sulla marched on Rome in 88 BC, seizing dictatorship and proscribing enemies. Pompey conquered the east. Crassus crushed Spartacus's slave revolt, 73 to 71 BC, crucifying 6,000 along the Appian Way. The first triumvirate, 60 BC, Pompey, Crassus, and Caesar, dominated. Caesar conquered Gaul, 58 to 50 BC, adding vast territory, bridging the Rhine and invading Britain twice, 55 to 54 BC. His Commentari de Bello Gallico chronicled the campaigns, estimating 1,000,000 Gallic yed. Civil war erupted. Caesar crossed the Rubicon in 49 BC, alea iacta est, defeating Pompey at Pharsalus, 48 BC. In Egypt, he allied with Cleopatra, fathering Caesarion. Dictator for life, Caesar reformed the calendar, Julian, 45 BC, but his monarchy-like power provoked assassination on the Ides of March, 44 BC, by Brutus, Cassius, and senators fearing tyranny. Vengeance followed. Antony, Lepidus, and Octavian formed the Second Triumvirate, prescribing 300 senators, including Cicero, and defeating assassins at Philippi, 42 BC. Rivalry split them. Octavian claimed the west, Antony the east with Cleopatra. At Actium, 31 BC, Octavian's fleet, led by Agrippa, shattered theirs. Antony and Cleopatra suicided in Alexandria, 30 BC. Octavian annexed Egypt, ending the Hellenistic era. In 27 BC, Octavian became Augustus, the revered one, restoring the Republican name while holding imperium. He professionalized the army, 28 legions, 150,000 men, created the Praetorian Guard, and reformed taxes. The Pax Romana dawned, 200 years of relative peace. Augustus patronized arts. Virgil's Aeneid glorified Rome's Trojan origins. Horace's Odes celebrated virtue. Livy's history chronicled from founding to empire. Augustus rebuilt Rome in marble, erecting the Ara Pacis, 13 BC, and Pantheon prototype. Succession bedeviled him. Tiberius, his stepson, succeeded, 14 to 37 AD, competent but paranoid, executing rivals in treason trials. Caligula, 37 to 41 AD, squandered fortunes, declared himself God, and was assassinated by Praetorians. Claudius, 41 to 54 AD, scholarly and stammering, conquered Britain, 43 AD, built aqueducts but was poisoned by wife Agrippina for son Nero, 54 to 68 AD. Nero's early rule shone under Seneca, but tyranny emerged. He murdered his mother, wife, and senators, blamed Christians for Rome's fire, 64 AD, and built the Golden House. Revolt in 68 AD led to suicide. Qualis artifex pereo, what an artist dies in me. The year of 4 emperors, 69 AD, saw Galba, Otho, Vitellius fall before Vespasian, founding the Flavians. He rebuilt Rome post-fire, starting the Colosseum, completed by Titus, 80 AD. Titus, 79 to 81 AD, handled Vesuvius's eruption, 79 AD, burying Pompeii and Herculaneum. Domitian, 81 to 96 AD, was efficient but despotic, assassinated in 96 AD. The Nerva-Antonine dynasty's 5 good emperors brought the empire's golden age. Nerva, 96 to 98 AD, adopted Trajan, 98 to 117 AD, who conquered Dacia, 101 to 106 AD, annexing gold mines, and briefly Mesopotamia, 114 to 117 AD. Trajan's column, 113 AD, depicts his wars in spiraling reliefs. Hadrian, 117 to 138 AD, withdrew from Mesopotamia, built Hadrian's Wall in Britain, 122 AD, and the Pantheon, 126 AD, with its oculus dome. Antoninus Pius, 138 to 161 AD, enjoyed peace, extending walls in Britain and Germany. Marcus Aurelius, 161 to 180 AD, philosopher-emperor, wrote Meditations amid Marcomannic Wars, 166 to 180 AD, against Germanic tribes, dying on the Danube frontier. Commodus, 180 to 192 AD, marked decline, indulging in gladiatorial spectacles and megalomania, strangled in his bath. The Severan dynasty, 193 to 235 AD, followed civil war. Septimius Severus, 193 to 211 AD, favored the army, devaluing currency. Caracalla, 211 to 217 AD, granted universal citizenship, 212 AD, for taxation, but was assassinated. Elagabalus, 218 to 222 AD, shocked with religious eccentricities. Severus Alexander, 222 to 235 AD, was murdered by troops, igniting the crisis of the 3rd century, 235 to 284 AD. This era of military anarchy saw 26 emperors, most assassinated, amid invasions. Goths sacked Athens, 267 AD. Alemanni breached frontiers. Persians captured Emperor Valerian, 260 AD. The empire splintered. Gallic Empire, 260 to 274 AD in the west. Palmyrene Empire, 260 to 273 AD under Queen Zenobia in the east. Aurelian, 270 to 275 AD, reunited it, defeating Zenobia at Emesa, 272 AD, and reclaiming Gaul, earning Restitutor Orbis, or Restorer of the World. He built Rome's Aurelian Walls, 271 to 275 AD, but was assassinated. Diocletian, 284 to 305 AD, ended the crisis with the Tetrarchy, 2 Augusti, Diocletian East, Maximian West, and 2 Caesars, Galerius and Constantius, dividing the empire for efficiency. He persecuted Christians, 303 to 311 AD, fixed prices to combat inflation, and retired in 305 AD, the first emperor to do so voluntarily. Civil wars resumed. Constantine, 306 to 337 AD, son of Constantius, triumphed at Milvian Bridge, 312 AD, crediting a Christian vision, in hoc signo vinces, in this sign conquer. The Edict of Milan, 313 AD, legalized Christianity. Sole emperor by 324 AD, he founded Constantinople, 330 AD, on Byzantium, shifting power east. At Nicaea's council, 325 AD, he addressed Arianism, standardizing doctrine. Theodosius I, 379 to 395 AD, made Christianity state religion, 380 AD, banning paganism, 391 to 392 AD. Dying, he divided the empire, Arcadius east, Honorius west. The west crumbled. Alaric's Visigoths sacked Rome in 410 AD. Vandals took Africa in 439 AD. Attila's Huns ravaged in 452 AD. In 476 AD, Odoacer deposed Romulus Augustulus, sending imperial regalia to Constantinople's Zeno, ending the Western Empire. The East endured as Byzantium until 1453 AD. Yet Rome's fall birthed new worlds. The Eastern Empire preserved Roman law, codified by Justinian, 527 to 565 AD, in the Corpus Juris Civilis, influencing Europe. In the West, Germanic kingdoms adopted Roman administration, blending with Christianity. Rome's legacy endures. Romance languages, Italian, French, Spanish, from Latin. Republican ideals inspiring the U.S. Constitution. Engineering in roads, aqueducts, and concrete. Christianity as a global faith, and cultural icons like the Colosseum symbolizing eternal grandeur. What lessons does Rome teach? Empires rise on unity and innovation, but fall to division, overreach, and decay. In our modern world, echoes of Rome remind us vigilance preserves greatness. Closing. Somber music fades to uplifting tones. Visuals, ruins of the Forum at sunset, transitioning to modern Rome's bustling streets, Vatican spires, and global landmarks like the U.S. Capitol. Word count approximately 201.50. This narration draws from historical sources including Wikipedia, Britannica, and History.com for comprehensive coverage, structured scene by scene for cinematic